Hi guys, the desperation of the DUP is something to behold. Back in 2016, they campaigned for Brexit with the misplaced hope that the Tories or whoever was in power would put up a hard border on the island of Ireland. They bet the farm on this and lost. But instead of going away with their tail between their legs, they kept banging away at the idea that perhaps one day someone will put it up. Here Jim Shannon of the DUP asked the government minister Anne-Marie Trevelyan what has been done to stop the illegal migration of people coming into GB via Northern Ireland. Have a listen.
Mr Speaker, can I thank the Minister very much for that response. Minister, we obviously in Northern Ireland have a border with the Republic of Ireland, so can I ask the Minister this question? What discussions has the Minister had with her counterparts in the devolved nations, and particularly the Northern Ireland Assembly and with the PSNI in relation to tackling illegal migration, ever mindful that we have a land border which needs patrolled and policed?
Minister.
Mr Speaker, we continue to engage across a number of international fora, as I've said, to strengthen that collaboration, to make sure that we're working to have secure and ambitious partnerships in order to tackle this irregular migration. I will ensure that my colleague updates him on the specific meetings that they've been having with the PSNI.
Oh my goodness. Okay, this is a stupid question. Jim Shannon knows this is a stupid question, but he asked it anyway. Now, there are two things to talk about here. First of all, the Good Friday Agreement and the Common Travel Area. The Common Travel Area is like a sort of freedom of movement that British and Irish citizens have had for about 100 years. It means that British and Irish citizens can move freely between Great Britain and the island of Ireland, and vice versa. But when the UK left the European Union, it ended freedom of movement for EU citizens. So anyone who's an EU citizen who wants to travel to Britain, well, they need to fill out some paperwork. There are checks. Well, there should be checks. But there are checks on people coming in from the European Union. So because of the ending of freedom of movement. Now, there's a problem. Well, it's not really a problem, but the DUP are trying to turn it into a problem. They're saying, well, there's a border, an open border between Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland as a consequence of the Good Friday Agreement, because as part of the Good Friday Agreement you wanted to reduce infrastructure on the border. That's something that the UK government signed up to. And this means that there's a flow of illegal immigrants coming from the European Union via Ireland into Northern Ireland and then flowing directly into GB. Now, the responsibility for the border, of course, is the British government. But where is the border? Well, the border is between Great Britain and Northern Ireland. So people crossing the Irish Sea, be it by plane or by ship, have to have documentation with them. And if they're checked, if it's not correct, then they can be sent back or detained or whatever. This is the responsibility of the Home Office. But what Jim Shannon and the DUP try to do on a daily basis is to say, well, the border should not be in the Irish Sea, it should be on the island of Ireland. And they keep banging on about this because they had hoped that when the UK left the European Union, the border would be put on the island of Ireland. They believed in Boris Johnson, they believed in the Tories, they believed that the Conservative Party would do that. The Conservative Party, when it had said that they would respect the Good Friday Agreement, so something had to give. And of course, where do you want the border? You want to have the border where, well, most of the trade is going to go and where most of the checks can be carried out. The checks carried out are between Great Britain and Northern Ireland. It's practically impossible to carry out checks on the border between the Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland or vice versa because there are over 200 crossing points. And remember, we come back to the Good Friday Agreement, you're not supposed to increase the infrastructure, you're supposed to reduce the infrastructure on the border as a consequence of the Good Friday Agreement, which the DUP were against. So the DUP believed with their Brexit they would end up with a hard border on the island of Ireland. They didn't get that. So what they're trying to do now is trying to pressure the UK government by whatever means necessary. Oh, look, illegal immigration. What we need to do is we need to have a hard border. We need to police that border. We need to check the people. We need to get as close as possible to a hard border as possible to stop illegal immigration. But once again, the UK government can check people crossing into GB because it's practically impossible to check people crossing from the Republic of Ireland into Northern Ireland. Now, this is about people, and the whole discussion is about immigration. When it comes to goods or things like diesel, or fuel and stuff like that, that can be checked. And that's the responsibility of the Police Service of Northern Ireland, the PSNI. If there is diesel or illicit products coming into Northern Ireland across the border, they can do surveillance there, they can check, but when it comes to people, they can't. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think about all of this. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.